Captain Alex Thorne's mission had gone terribly wrong, leaving him stranded on the remote and treacherous planet Cal, a world known for its dense, untamed wilderness and perilous conditions. His ship, now a twisted wreck of metal and sparks, had malfunctioned during what was supposed to be a simple scouting expedition, forcing a crash landing in the middle of nowhere. Isolated and cut off from all communication with the outside galaxy, Alex was faced with the grim reality that rescue was unlikely. Cal was far beyond the regular patrol routes, its status as a dangerous, uninhabited world keeping most explorers away. As Alex navigated the dense forests, he battled both the unforgiving environment and his dwindling supplies. The terrain was harsh, filled with jagged rocks, poisonous plants, and predatory creatures lurking in the shadows. Just as he was beginning to lose hope, Alex stumbled upon something that defied all expectation: a hidden valley shrouded in mist, protected by towering cliffs and dense foliage. There, nestled among the ancient trees, was a sight he could hardly believe: a village of enormous, statuesque women who moved with an effortless grace that belied their size. The Valkyrie were unlike any beings Alex had ever encountered. They stood nearly 12 feet tall, with athletic builds and striking features that made them seem both beautiful and formidable. Their long hair flowed like rivers of gold, silver, and raven black, and their eyes sparkled with colors that mirrored the rich minerals of the planet itself. They carried themselves with an air of confidence and poise, their presence commanding respect. Despite their intimidating stature, the Valkyrie were not hostile. Instead, they regarded Alex with a mix of curiosity and cautious warmth. From the moment Alex entered their village, he could feel the weight of history in the air. The Valkyrie were more than just giants; they were survivors of a civilization that had once spanned across Cal, a proud warrior society that had thrived in the most challenging of environments. They possessed a rich cultural heritage, evident in their intricately woven garments, elaborate jewelry, and the symbols of their ancient lineage carved into the stone walls of their homes. Despite being cut off from the rest of the galaxy, the Valkyrie had maintained their traditions, their songs echoing with the tales of victories, sacrifices, and the strength of their ancestors. However, beneath the surface of their serene and majestic demeanor lay a profound sadness. Alex soon discovered the reason behind the Valkyrie's isolation and their dwindling numbers. The tribe had been struck by a catastrophic genetic plague centuries ago, one that had specifically targeted their male population, leaving only a handful of males who were now too old and genetically compromised to father healthy offspring. With no outside contact and no way to reverse the effects of the plague, the once mighty Valkyrie had slowly withered, their numbers shrinking with each passing generation. Their society, which had been built on the strength and wisdom of their ancestors, was now at the brink of extinction. Despite their dire situation, the Valkyrie had not given up hope. They continued to honor their heritage, training their daughters in the arts of combat, crafting, and the ancient traditions that had kept their tribe strong for millennia. Alex was captivated by their resilience. He had never met a people so determined to hold on to their identity, even in the face of inevitable decline. The Valkyrie's tragic history unfolded before him through songs, stories, and the sorrowful eyes of the elders, who remembered a time when their village had been filled with the laughter of children and the thunderous cheers of warriors returning victorious. As Alex spent more time with the Valkyrie, he began to feel a deep connection to their plight. He admired their strength, not just in battle but in spirit. They had faced loss on an unimaginable scale and yet continued to live with dignity and purpose. The tribe's way of life, their unyielding will to survive, and their unspoken plea for help resonated with Alex in ways he hadn't anticipated. They were not just survivors; they were guardians of a legacy that spanned centuries. And now, as they stood on the precipice of extinction, Alex realized that his presence among them was not just a matter of chance; it was a call to action. As Alex became more integrated into the Valkyrie tribe, he began to understand the full extent of their struggles, not just from a historical perspective but through the daily challenges they faced. The tribe's leader, High Matron Sarala, a formidable woman with striking blue eyes and a commanding presence, took a special interest in Alex. Sarala was not just a leader but a symbol of hope and perseverance for the Valkyrie, carrying the weight of her people's survival on her broad shoulders. Her decisions guided the tribe through their most difficult times, and her wisdom was revered by all. It was Sarala who first approached Alex with an offer that would change the course of his life and potentially the fate of the entire tribe. One evening, as the sun set over the valley and bathed the village in hues of gold and crimson, Sarala invited Alex to join her for a private discussion. They sat by a fire pit, surrounded by the ancient carvings that depicted the great battles and achievements of the Valkyries' past. Sarala spoke of the tribe's history, their fall from glory, and the constant threat of fading into nothingness. Her voice, usually so strong and authoritative, wavered with a rare vulnerability. She explained the urgency of their situation without the ability to produce offspring. The Valkyrie were doomed to die out within the next few generations. The gravity of her words hung in the air, and Alex could feel the weight of centuries of pain and loss that she carried. Then, with a level of frankness that Alex had come to admire in the Valkyrie, Sarala laid out their desperate need for a solution. They had tried everything within their power to find a way to survive, including searching for lost technologies and ancient remedies, but nothing had worked. The Valkyrie's genetics were too far gone, and the remaining males were unable to produce healthy offspring. Alex, as the first human they had encountered in generations, represented a new hope, a genetic possibility that had never been considered before. Sarala proposed what seemed at first an unthinkable idea. She asked Alex to become the father of the next generation of Valkyrie, to help them rebuild their tribe and ensure that their culture would not be lost to time. The request was shocking, not just because of its nature but because of the immense responsibility it carried. Sarala's proposal was not simply about procreation, it was a plea for help, a call to save an entire people from extinction. She spoke not as a leader issuing a command but as a mother, a guardian, and a custodian of her people's legacy, appealing to Alex's sense of empathy and understanding. Sarala made it clear that this was not a demand but an offer, a partnership where Alex's involvement would be entirely voluntary, respected, and honored as a sacred bond. The Valkyrie did not see him as a mere genetic donor but as a potential savior whose actions could reshape the future of their civilization. For Alex, the proposition was overwhelming. He was just an explorer, a man who had been thrown into this situation by fate, and now he was being asked to make a choice that would affect not just his own life but the lives of generations to come. The implications of Sarala's proposal were enormous, touching on ethical, personal, and emotional levels. He grappled with questions of morality. Was it right for him to intervene in the Valkyrie's natural course? Could he truly take on such a role, knowing that it would bind him to this tribe and their future forever? The decision was far from simple, and Alex's mind was a whirlwind of conflicting thoughts and emotions. As Sarala spoke, Alex could see the hope in her eyes, a hope that had been all but extinguished over the years but now flickered anew with the possibility of salvation. The other Valkyrie watched from a distance, their expressions a mix of cautious optimism and quiet desperation. They had endured so much loss and hardship, and now they stood on the brink of a new beginning, dependent on the willingness of an outsider to join them in their fight for survival. The tribe's entire future hung in the balance, and Alex's choice would determine whether the Valkyrie songs and stories would continue to echo through the valley or fade into silence forever. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on Alex, who spent countless hours reflecting on what it would mean to take on such a responsibility. He walked among the Valkyrie, watching as they trained, hunted, and kept their ancient traditions alive against all odds. The more he learned about their customs, the more he saw their resilience and the depth of their cultural heritage. This was not just about saving a dying tribe, it was about preserving a rich and vibrant way of life that had been forged in the crucible of adversity. Alex was torn between his duty to his own kind and the undeniable pull he felt toward the Valkyrie and their struggle to endure. As days turned into weeks, Alex became deeply entwined with the lives of the Valkyrie, participating in their daily routines and learning about their customs, language, and the intricacies of their society. The more time he spent with them, the more he realized that the Valkyrie were not just warriors, they were artisans, poets, and scholars, fiercely proud of their heritage. They possessed an incredible knowledge of the natural world around them, having adapted to their environment in ways that seemed almost supernatural to an outsider. Every aspect of their lives was a testament to their ingenuity and adaptability, from their architecture, which blended seamlessly with the landscape, to their advanced herbal medicines that had kept them alive for centuries without modern technology. Alex marveled at the Valkyries' endurance and their capacity for joy even in the face of extinction. They celebrated life with an intensity that was palpable, feasts that lasted long into the night, where music, dance, and laughter echoed through the valley, a stark contrast to the grim reality they faced. Their rituals, filled with vibrant colors, rhythmic drums, and haunting melodies, were more than mere traditions. They were acts of defiance against the looming shadow of their fate. The Valkyrie's spirit was unbreakable, and their will to survive burned brightly, even as their numbers dwindled. It was during these moments that Alex felt a profound connection to the tribe. Understanding that the Valkyrie were fighting for more than just their existence, they were fighting to keep the essence of who they were alive. Among the many tasks Alex undertook, he was invited to participate in the Valkyries' training sessions, a grueling regimen that pushed even the fittest warriors to their limits. The Valkyrie believed in honing both body and mind, and their training was as much about mental fortitude as it was physical prowess. Alex, despite being considerably smaller and less physically imposing than his Valkyrie counterparts, impressed them with his determination and adaptability. He trained alongside them, learning the use of their massive weapons, sparring in mock battles, and testing his endurance in obstacle courses that would have been impossible for any ordinary human. The experience was transformative. Alex found himself growing stronger, not just in body but in spirit, as he embraced the Valkyrie way of life. During these sessions, Alex formed a close bond with many of the Valkyrie warriors, who treated him less like an outsider and more like a brother in arms. They respected his courage and resilience, qualities that were highly valued in Valkyrie culture. They shared their stories with him, tales of past glories, ancient battles, and the sacrifices their ancestors had made to protect their land. Each story was a lesson, a glimpse into the heart of a people who had faced unimaginable odds and still refused to be broken. These warriors, towering and fierce, were not just fighters, they were the living embodiment of the Valkyrie's indomitable spirit, and Alex felt honored to stand among them. The deeper Alex was drawn into the Valkyrie's world, the more he realized the magnitude of what was at stake. He saw firsthand the strain on the tribe's remaining elders, who bore the weight of centuries of tradition and responsibility. The younger Valkyrie looked up to them, desperate for guidance and hope, but even the strongest among them could not ignore the ticking clock of their dwindling population. The tribe's future rested on a knife's edge, and every day without a solution brought them closer to the inevitable. Alex's presence was a reminder that change was possible, that the Valkyrie's fate was not yet sealed, but it also underscored the urgency of the situation. Alex began to take part in the tribe's strategic discussions, offering insights from his own experience and helping to plan expeditions to search for any remnants of lost technology or resources that could aid the Valkyrie's survival. He quickly realized that the Valkyrie's isolation had cost them dearly. Without contact with the outside galaxy, they had been left to fend for themselves, cut off from potential allies and solutions. It was in these meetings that Alex's value became even more apparent, not just as a potential father to the next generation, but as a bridge to a wider universe that the Valkyrie had long been disconnected from. His knowledge of advanced technologies, navigation, and survival skills complemented the Valkyrie's deep understanding of their environment, creating a synergy that gave the tribe new hope. Despite their dire circumstances, the Valkyrie remained steadfast in their refusal to compromise their values. They were a proud people, bound by a code of honor and integrity that dictated their every action. They would never force Alex into a role he was unwilling to take, nor would they sacrifice their dignity for the sake of survival. It was this unwavering commitment to their principles that struck Alex the most. The Valkyrie were not merely clinging to life, they were determined to live on their own terms. Even if it meant facing extinction, they treated Alex not as a savior but as an equal, someone who could choose his path freely without coercion or obligation. As the days passed, Alex found himself increasingly drawn to the idea of helping the Valkyrie, not out of duty or responsibility but out of a genuine admiration and affection for the tribe. He saw in them a reflection of humanity's own struggles, the constant fight against the odds, the desire to carve out a place in an unforgiving universe, and the unbreakable bonds of community that defined them. The Valkyrie's plight was not just a story of survival, it was a testament to the resilience of the spirit, the power of unity, and the unyielding will to endure. Alex's journey with the Valkyrie was far from over, but he knew that whatever decision he made, it would be guided by the deep respect and kinship he had found in the heart of this remarkable tribe. As Alex continued to integrate with the Valkyrie, he realized that their approach to life extended far beyond the physical. It was deeply rooted in their culture, beliefs, and an unshakable connection to their ancestors. The tribe maintained sacred sites scattered throughout their territory, ancient stone circles, towering monoliths, and hidden groves where rituals were performed. These places were more than historical landmarks. They were hallowed grounds that connected the Valkyrie to their past, serving as a reminder of who they were and the legacy they were determined to preserve. Alex was often invited to join these ceremonies, which were both solemn and awe-inspiring, filled with chants, dances, and offerings that honored the spirits of those who had come before. The Valkyrie believed that their ancestors watched over them, guiding their actions and providing strength in times of need. One of the most profound experiences for Alex came during the Rite of Remembrance, a deeply personal ceremony where each member of the tribe paid homage to their lineage. The Valkyrie would gather at the largest of their sacred circles, adorned in traditional garb and carrying tokens that represented their family's history, pieces of armor, relics from battles long past, and personal items passed down through generations. Alex watched as the Valkyrie warriors, normally so stoic and unflinching, allowed their emotions to surface, openly mourning the loss of loved ones while reaffirming their commitment to honor their memory through their actions. It was during this ceremony that Alex truly grasped the weight of the Valkyrie's struggle. They were not just fighting for survival, but for the memory of all those who had sacrificed before them. The tribe's relationship with nature was another aspect that deeply impressed Alex. The Valkyrie lived in harmony with their environment, utilizing every resource with respect and care, ensuring that nothing went to waste. They hunted and foraged with a sense of reverence, acknowledging the spirits of the creatures they took for sustenance. This balance was not just a matter of survival, it was a spiritual practice that underscored their entire way of life. The Valkyrie's deep knowledge of the land allowed them to thrive in conditions that would be considered harsh and inhospitable to others. Alex marveled at their ability to read the weather, predict seasonal changes, and find nourishment in places that seemed barren and desolate. Every day was a testament to their adaptability and respect for the world around them. Among the Valkyrie, Alex found unexpected friendships that transcended cultural and linguistic barriers. He bonded with the warriors who taught him their combat techniques and survival skills, often engaging in friendly competitions that ended in laughter and camaraderie. He spent time with the healers, learning about the unique herbs and medicines they used to treat injuries and illnesses. Even the youngest members of the tribe were eager to learn from him, fascinated by his stories of distant stars and the advanced technologies of humanity. They peppered him with questions, their eyes wide with wonder as they tried to imagine the vastness of the universe beyond their valley. Alex, in turn, found himself inspired by their curiosity and determination, often staying up late into the night to share tales of his adventures. The Valkyrie's resilience was mirrored in their art, music, and storytelling, which were woven into the fabric of their daily lives. In the evenings, the tribe would gather around great bonfires, where the elders would recount epic sagas of heroism, betrayal, love, and loss. These stories, passed down through generations, were more than mere entertainment. They were lessons and moral guides that shaped the Valkyrie's values. The songs, haunting and beautiful, spoke of battles fought and lost, of alliances made and broken, and of the enduring spirit that had carried the tribe through its darkest days. Alex often found himself lost in these tales, drawn into the rich tapestry of the Valkyrie's history and the indomitable spirit that defined them. Through his interactions, Alex came to understand the Valkyrie on a deeply personal level. They were not just survivors of a dying tribe, they were individuals with hopes, dreams, fears, and aspirations, each carrying their own burdens while supporting one another. Alex saw the quiet moments of kindness, the fierce loyalty, and the unspoken bonds that held the tribe together. There were times when he witnessed the tribe's leaders debating tough decisions, their voices tinged with the frustration of knowing that every choice carried consequences that could either save or doom their people. Yet, despite the immense pressure, the Valkyrie never wavered in their commitment to one another. They were bound by more than blood. They were united by a shared purpose that transcended the individual, a collective will to see their people endure, no matter the cost. The turning point for Alex came when the tribe faced an unexpected crisis. A harsh winter storm, fiercer than any the Valkyrie had encountered in decades, swept through the valley, threatening to destroy their crops, shelters, and supply caches. The tribe rallied together, using every ounce of their strength and ingenuity to protect what little they had. Alex threw himself into the effort, helping to fortify the shelters, distribute supplies, and keep spirits high as the storm raged on. It was a test of their resilience and resourcefulness, and the Valkyrie rose to the challenge with a tenacity that left Alex in awe. In those harrowing days, he saw the true measure of the Valkyries' strength not in their physical prowess, but in their unbreakable spirit and their refusal to give up, even when faced with insurmountable odds. As the storm finally passed and the tribe emerged, battered but unbowed, Alex realized that his place was no longer in the stars or on distant worlds. It was here, among these extraordinary people who had shown him what it truly meant to fight for something greater than oneself. He had come to the Valkyrie as a stranger, an outsider, but now, standing shoulder to shoulder with them, he felt like he had found a new home, a place where his actions could make a real difference, where his presence mattered. The decision that had once seemed so daunting was now clear, and Alex knew that, whatever lay ahead, he was ready to face it alongside the Valkyrie, sharing in their struggles, their triumphs, and their unyielding quest for survival. As the storm clouds finally cleared, leaving the valley blanketed in fresh snow, Alex stood with the Valkyrie, gazing out at the sun rising over the jagged peaks. The tribe had survived yet another trial, not just through brute strength but through unity, courage, and an unwavering belief in one another. Alex felt a profound sense of belonging, more connected to these people than he had ever been to any place in the galaxy. The Valkyrie, once on the brink of despair, now looked to the future with renewed hope, bolstered by Alex's presence and the promise of what they could achieve together. In their darkest moments, they had found light not just in the resilience of their spirit, but in the bond they had formed with the human who had chosen to stand by their side. For the first time in generations, the Valkyrie saw a path forward, one forged not just by tradition but by the strength of new alliances and the shared belief that they could endure whatever the universe threw their way. And as they rebuilt, stronger and more determined than ever, Alex knew that his journey with the Valkyrie was just beginning, a new chapter in the ongoing saga of a tribe that refused to be forgotten,